RC, Ryan Clark's with us, and Mike Tannenbaum from the draft in Detroit. Gentlemen, let's start with some first-round superlatives. RC, what was your favorite pick last night?
Xavier Worthy to the Kansas City Chiefs, moving up, making a trade with the Buffalo Bills and securing the fastest wide receiver of all time. Yeah, that's what the Times said. The fastest wide receiver that's ever lived. And when you think about the Kansas City Chiefs last year, you know what they saying? Y'all should have got us last year when we was worried about Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, and Justin Watson, because now we got Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy on the outside for a track meet. Who in the hell is going to cover Travis Kelce in the middle?
Yeah, he ran like a 4.2 at the combine. Mike T, newest power couple.
Oh, this is easy. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze of the Chicago Bears. How does that sound, Bears fan? You're adding those players to Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. All of a sudden, we're not going to be talking about, this moribund Chicago Bear offense. I think Rome Odunze could be an absolute superstar because of his size, speed, and physicality. This was a grand slam for the Bears last night. Two great young offensive players in the top 9.
Neek, give me a pick that's most likely to change the franchise.
I'm just realizing, listening to everybody else, that it was a dark day for cornerbacks in the NFL, man. Because Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, could be a future Hall of Fame. Like, he's one of the best receivers that is going to come out of the draft ever. And then we got the fastest ever, going with the best quarterback ever. Rome Odunze is joining a hell of a receiving core. The NFL is scary for corners. I'm so happy I'm safe in this little yellow box.
Graz, give me biggest surprise pick.
Look, I guess anytime you can take the 4th quarterback in the draft with the 8th pick a month after you signed Kirk Cousins for $100 million guaranteed over the next 2 years, you got to do that. But I was still a little confused by what the Atlanta Falcons did last night, drafting Michael Penix Jr. Right after they had signed Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins also confused and not real thrilled about it, from what I understand. So this is a head scratcher, and I don't think I'm alone in calling that the surprise of the night.
Yeah, it's speaking of Michael Penix Jr., the Falcons GM addressed the QB situation about making that pick. Take a listen to this.
Very, very excited. You don't pass up that opportunity. Kirk Cousins is our quarterback. We're very excited about Kirk, very excited about this team. And Michael Penix we're talking about the future.
Okay, Nick, so break this one down to me, because you just heard Gross. You just recently signed Kirk Cousins, $100 million guarantee. So you know it's definitely a 2-year deal. And then you go get Penix?
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I think my reaction was like everyone else's, but I might be surprising some of our producers where I feel like I'm pivoting a little bit. I don't know that the decision makes a ton of sense for the short term. We thought that they were all-in franchise, but if you think back to times where this has happened in the past, you think of Aaron Rodgers while Brett Favre is there. You think of Jordan Love while Aaron Rodgers is there. You think of Jalen Hurts while Carson Wentz is there. If we think that quarterbacks need a little bit, and Jalen Hurts was a later pick, I understand, 2nd round, which I think we all agree that quarterbacks don't get enough time to develop, and the quarterback position is the most important position in football. If they had a high grade on this guy, and Kirk Cousins, coming off Achilles injury, is an older guy, the idea that they could maybe be securing their quarterback room for the next 2 years, and then 5, 6, 7 years after that, it's a different strategy. But it's a risk worth taking when the opportunity cost is there, but the opportunity cost is not nearly big enough to make up for the value of if you land the right quarterback.
We're gonna take a good 20 minutes to delve into this, because we need to. RC, I want to get your reaction to that, because I think Neek brings up a really interesting point. We killed Green Bay 4 years ago when they went and got Jordan Love in the 1st round, and you know what? It worked out for them. So why is this one so controversial in your opinion?
Well, because you picked him 8th overall, and you picked the Michael Penix at the position of 8 when people weren't expecting him to go there. Is Michael Penix, from the film, and when you watch him last year with McMillan and Polk, and also Rome Odunze at Washington, one of the best throwers, or maybe the best thrower of the football in this draft? Absolutely. But he's also 24 years old. And when you're thinking about making Michael Penix wait to get his opportunity, it's not to wait for 2 or for 3 or for 4 years. It was to maybe wait a year, right? Because you have a guy who is seasoned, a guy who is experienced, also someone who's coming off of 2 ACL injuries that ended seasons, 2 shoulder injuries that did the same. And you just signed Kirk Cousins. This isn't Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is about to be 40, and Aaron Rodgers is coming off of a year that isn't so great, or Brett Favre getting old in the tooth, and you can wait for Aaron Rodgers to get to year 4. This is, we just signed Kirk Cousins and gave him a bag, and now we got a top 10 pick that can make our team better, that can add a great football player at another position. Hell no, we want a crowded quarterback room. And so where I appreciate my boy Dom, and it's like we're having Culture Friday for the first time in forever, and I'm excited. I gotta disagree off the top. Right? Now the NAACP gonna be calling us and not Stephen A.
Well, I love it. How do you react to that?
They gonna call you. They not calling me.
Right.
I'm saying that I like Michael Penix.
Exactly.
I'm on board, baby. Way to go, Michael Penix. You gonna work it out down there with Fondo and with Raheem, dressed like the prosperity pastor. I love it. So Michael Penix turns out to get close to the potential that anyone else, they're going to grab Kirk Cousins and throw him out like DJ Jazzy Jeff because this young, talented passer, he could be special.
Look, Kirk Cousins is 36. Maybe they see something wrong with him coming back with that Achilles. Mike T, what do you think? Did they make a mistake going to get Penix at number 8?
A huge mistake. I'm totally with RC, and here is why. Every dollar and every draft pick in this system is precious. And I thought, wow, when Atlanta extended $100 million for Kirk Cousins, they're going to take Dallas Turner at number 8 and address the pass rush, almost like 2 for the price of 1. I understand Neek's point, like, sure, you want to build for the long term and be opportunistic at the right moment, like Jordan Love was later on in the first round. But when you're in the top 10, you want an impact player. Kirk Cousins is going to be 36 in August. You're trying to win right now. You're desperate for a pass rusher. And it was bewildering to me. And in terms of the value of a first-round quarterback, it's going to be at least 2 years until he plays. So you're actually losing the advantage of playing a rookie on a rookie quarterback. So just the timelines to me were wholly inconsistent. You're trying to win now with a 36-year-old quarterback with a bad Achilles, and you have a quarterback who I love Michael Penix, but he may not play for a couple of years, and now you're losing the benefit of his contract. So it just didn't make any sense to me.
You know, Grouch, you look at they got Pitt, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, so they got young talent here. What was Kirk Cousins' reaction?
They pick 8th every year. No, Kirk Cousins' reaction was he's upset. I mean, like, obviously you saw, I mean, it was very easy to get the agent to text you back last night. He shocked and disappointed and surprised. Like, they did not give him a heads up. They apparently told Kirk Cousins when he was when they were on the clock, what they were going to do. So that, until that point, they had not informed him that this was a possibility. It's just weird. I mean, to Mike T's point, if he has to wait 2 years to play, that means he's a first-time starter at 26. Right? If you're making the case that you want your quarterback room to be as deep as possible, fine. But it's a completely different player from Kirk Cousins. If you had to put Penix in, then you have to change your offense, right? Like, he's not going to do the same stuff that Kirk Cousins does.
Well, I mean, I think he potentially can do more aggressive things than Kirk Cousins considering Archer. But either way, like, I don't disagree with anything that you guys are saying. I'm agreeing with you that some of it does not make perfect, obvious sense to me. But we all accept that this is the most important position in football. We also accept that Kirk Cousins is older and is coming off Achilles injury. And if they have a high grade on him, on Michael Penix, then bringing him in to me seems like not that foolish of a move. And I understand the age stuff, but it's age at a position where you can play older, and if he's good for 6, 7, 8 years, the draft made sense. So I'm with you. Like, I know the injuries. I know all this stuff. Like, I get why it doesn't make sense, but at least for me, part of the challenge was I respect Fondo. Like, these are smart people. Sure. How do I make this make sense to me? And this is the way that it makes sense. Like, it makes sense to be able to solidify this position.
You know what? You look at some of the video we saw from the Atlanta Falcons draft room last night, and you can see Fontenot having to explain this to Arthur Blank because Arthur Blank, the man who's writing the checks, he didn't understand it either. He was like, okay, Terry, I trust you, but I'm going to need you to tell me why you drafted Michael Penix before you go tell them. And Dominique is one of the smartest people I've ever been around. And so I do get what he's saying. He's saying that if Kirk Cousins plays 3 years and Michael Penix is ready to be a star in year 4, then at least you have your quarterback of the future. But what you don't have is an impact player that you could have gotten in the top 10 this year to continue to build this team that you went out and got Kirk Cousins to lead. Going to get Kirk Cousins was an opportunity for the Atlanta Falcons to compete right now. Was a chance for the Atlanta Falcons to win the South right now. And if you add a Dallas Turner or if you add another impact position player, they also help you get closer to that. Essentially, you've used a top 10 pick for weight. And I think that's something that Terry Fontenot is going to have to answer for if Kirk Cousins plays 3 or 4 more years.
I love it. I love it. We're going to talk a lot more about this move here a little bit later in the show.
Years.
But let's talk about Kirk Cousins' old team. How about the Vikings? Because they traded up one spot from number 11 to 10. They got the national champion quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. Some mock drafts had McCarthy going earlier, possibly to the Giants at 6. But they passed, and the Vikings pounced and went and got him. All right, Mike T, I know you've been real high on J.J. McCarthy through this process. Do you think the Giants, who had the opportunity to get him there at 6, did they make a mistake passing on J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, I think they made a big mistake. I love Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors has a chance to be a dynamic, number 1 difference-maker receiver. But Daniel Jones has missed 23 games. I am hard-pressed to study the history of the NFL when a player has gotten older and more durable. And when Daniel Jones has no guaranteed money after this year, and when you look at his production, he hasn't thrown more than 15 touchdown passes in the last 4 years. He has trouble holding on to the ball, and you have a chance to get a guy like J.J. McCarthy. To me, that was an easy decision, and I think moving forward now, going to Minnesota, this is ideal. You have Aaron Jones, who's a great runner. You got 2 great offensive tackles, and obviously the great Justin Jefferson. So to me, J.J. McCarthy's in a great situation, Brian. I think it's a missed opportunity for the Giants. Daniel Jones obviously has some ability, but his lack of durability ultimately may do him in.
Well, this is going to be interesting, Graz, because when you look at what Daniel Jones has done over the past couple of years, it ain't pretty. Yeah. And the pressure's going to be on him. Now he's got Malik Neighbors here, especially if all these other quarterbacks that have been drafted pan out and play well, and Daniel Jones doesn't put up numbers. Playing here in New York is not a good place to play if you're going to be struggling like that. Was it realistic at all? I'm talking about the Giants going up to maybe get McCarthy.
Well, no. I mean, he was sitting at 6 and they didn't take him. Yeah. So obviously he was not their guy. My understanding is the Giants really liked Drake May and made an effort to try and get up to 3 with the Patriots to take him. But the Patriots were turning away those offers. And so the Giants sat tight and decided that they liked Daniel Jones better than any other quarterback they were going to take there at 6.
Oh, I had the most time with the Giants.
Like, didn't that sound a little thirsty though? like he was trying to talk something into happening. So I think that's what was going on there. And look, he's in a great spot. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy with Minnesota. We've talked about this for weeks now that would be the top spot for him. The Giants. This is a vote of confidence for Daniel Jones. They're saying, okay, show us. We've got you your star receiver. We did not take your replacement. Show us what you can do. You've got this year and $36 million guaranteed. Let's see what you got.
I don't know that I would consider a vote of confidence as much as it's them sticking by their guns, which I respect in that they don't see J.J. McCarthy the way that some people like Mike Tannenbaum do see him. And I think that some teams in this situation, some general managers and some head coaches would have taken this Hail Mary on J.J. McCarthy because they believe that it could save their job. So honestly, respect. It's a hard decision to pass up and to get a receiver right here when you don't have a sure thing at quarterback because no one believes that they think Daniel Jones is a long-term solution. But I also think that very few people believe that J.J. McCarthy alone, dropped in that situation, is going to improve anything. The way you build up that, or the way that you get a quarterback in position to have success is you select a player like Malik Neighbors that feels like a can't-miss prospect.
If that's the case, then RC, so should the Vikings be looking at J.J. McCarthy as a steal? And should we be looking at it as a steal for the Vikings to get him at number 10?
No. Y'all let Mike Tannenbaum trick y'all. Y'all let Mike Tannenbaum and Jim Harbaugh and all the media
Orlovsky.
fool
Don't
y'all.
forget Orlovsky.
Ooh, look, J.J. McCarthy. He had the best pro day ever. J.J. McCarthy is the best quarterback from Michigan. Yes, because the only other first-round quarterback from Michigan was Jim Harbaugh. Of course, he's the best college quarterback at Michigan. We said all these things, and everybody built it up. J.J. McCarthy was drafted where J.J. McCarthy should have been drafted. And what the New York Giants did that was smart was they've touched this fire before and got burned. Dave Gettleman was sitting at 6, and he saw Daniel Jones, and he drafted him because of need. And that's why they sit where they are now. They weren't going to make the same mistake twice. So you go out and get a positional player that is absolutely dynamic in Malik Neighbors. And now you give Daniel Jones an opportunity to play with a true number 1 talent. If Daniel Jones doesn't produce, now you try to move on and find you a different quarterback. But if J.J. McCarthy wasn't the guy, and listening to Graz, he's saying that Drake May was, if J.J. McCarthy isn't the guy, then don't handicap your organization for 4 more years making a necessity pick.